Year 3 is the beginning of us really looking at Destiny from its heart out. We want to build Destiny for its core fans. We want to make sure that we're building it for the people who love it.
It's trying to make sure that players feel like they're on this journey with us rather than us dictating what they're experiencing.
Sometimes you feel like the events of the world happen, and sometimes you feel like you make the events of the world happen.
That makes me every day go, what's the best version of Destiny we can put in front of players?
The real thing I think we're doing this year is telling our players where we're going. Like, we're saying, hey, we're back. This is the 5-year vision for the game.
What's up, guys? As the title of the video states, I am going to highlight the reasons why I believe Destiny 3 is not happening, and all the information that goes with supporting the theory that I have and the reasonings why I believe that Destiny 2 is going to become a World of Warcraft-esque type game, to where there is a continuing amount of DLCs and seasons, and the game itself is not actually going to transform into yet another iteration of itself, meaning no third iteration of Destiny. We will just stay in a Destiny 2. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the background gameplay, you will be seeing the video from the Vidoc that came out September 17th, 2019. In that Vidoc, at the very beginning, Luke Smith said that we are back and here is our plan for the next 5 years. If you missed that, you can actually go back to the beginning of the video and hear it again, but he clearly states 5 years. Now, you could kind of take that as a grain of salt and say, okay, that's a 5-year plan. And I would agree with you, but I have other things that will support it. But I think a lot of people have completely forgotten what he said in this Vidoc last year. So if Destiny 3 was on the horizon, which again, I don't believe it is, I don't think they would be saying 5 years. Because if you kind of put the numbers together, again, if you look at Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, there it was a 3-year cycle. So when Bungie was with Activision, there was 3 years of Destiny 1, and we would be coming to the end of the 3rd year for Destiny 2. Now, obviously Bungie and Activision have parted ways since then, and that further illustrates to me why we won't be getting a Destiny 3. Bungie is no longer a part of Activision's plan for the 10-year span for the game. I believe they are reinventing themselves, and in order for them to do that, they are doing a 5 to 7 year expansion of the game to build it to what I believe they originally wanted it to look like. Next up, the This Week at Bungie for last week. If you guys either read it or heard any of the news updates, there were a huge amount of Year 4 changes that we won't go over in this video, but I will put on screen now the excerpt that I'm going to use as a reference for, again, Luke Smith saying about the game going into Year 4, Year 5, and Year 6. It reads, "Core playlist reward changes, strikes, Gambit, and Crucible. We are adding a new set of armor to the core playlist, strikes, Gambit, and Crucible. This armor shares a set of geometry with decals and shaders specific to the activity. We will create new sets like this each year. Year 4, Year 5, Year 6, etc. This set will arrive alongside the next expansion." Now, again, you could take this as him just using Year 4, 5, and 6 as, well, he's just using it as as a reference point. And I would kind of agree with you, but again, This is yet another time of Luke Smith, the game director, saying himself, year 4, year 5, year 6. And again, in the beginning of the Vidoc from last year, he said we have a 5-year plan referencing Destiny 2, not pointing at a Destiny 3. So just keep that in mind. The next reason I honestly believe Destiny 3 is not going to happen is because of the storylines set up in Destiny 2. If you played Destiny 2 Vanilla, at the end of the campaign, spoiler alert, there is a cutscene that shows the pyramid ships awakening out in orbit outside of our galaxy and our solar system. So when that happens, moving forward in the timeline through Forsaken and now through Shadowkeep, the pyramid ships are becoming a closer and closer threat. My theory would be Destiny 3 would be the pyramid ships actually coming and we seeing the darkness invade finally. And I believe most of the people who have kept up with the narrative and the lore would look at it from the perspective of that probably was the original plan for Destiny 3. Because if you think about it, if the darkness shows up, they beat us and beat the Traveler, that would be a perfect opportunity to reset the game again. Meaning, wipe the slate clean with the darkness, pick it back up in Destiny 3, and then we start the process over again. But because things have changed between Bungie and Activision, I believe now that narratively things are completely different. I believe that with the darkness approaching now, inside of the seasons to come, I think that the fall DLC will pick up where Destiny 3 would have been, but now they will just continue to expand on the story of the pyramid ships and the veil and things of that nature going forward. So narratively, they don't have to have a Destiny 3 to reset everything if they just continue to expand on the idea of the darkness itself. Because the pyramid ships, again, this is just a theory, but the pyramid ships to me are probably just liaisons for the darkness. I don't believe it's still the darkness itself, because if the darkness itself was to come, I believe we would all be destroyed anyway, because obviously if the darkness could cripple the Traveler itself, how then could we as Guardians being spawn of the Traveler survive anyway? The last and final reason why I don't believe there will be a Destiny 3 is because of the community. If you look at the track record of the Destiny community, they really aren't big fans of new activities. Not to say that they don't take them and enjoy them while they're there, and obviously the community burns through content like no one else, but look at the bigger picture. Destiny 2 was a clean slate. It gave the developers, Activision, and Bungie the ability to create something completely different, and they did, and the community hated it, and they started to correct those mistakes, but were they really mistakes? A lot of people say the beginning of Destiny 2 was terrible. No one wanted, static rolls on all of their weapons. No one wanted static rolls on their armor. And overall, the community's reception was extremely poor. So, fast forward to Forsaken. Random rolls came back on weapons and armor. They introduced things like Season of Opulence that gave us the menagerie, and there was a bunch of praise and everyone enjoyed it. But again, if you go back to the concept of wiping the slate clean, everything that Bungie has done update-wise is to make Destiny 2 more like Destiny 1. Perfect example is Trials of the Nine versus Trials of Osiris. Bungie tried something new. Bungie gave us a new PvP core activity for the hardcores, and people hated it. It was 4v4, Instead of 3v3, it didn't have the boon system. It was a completely different scenario than what we had before. But the community doesn't really want new. They want a revised version of Destiny 1. And I honestly believe that that is what Bungie is going to give us going forward. I believe that we will get Destiny 1.5 because that's what the community wants. If you look at all the activities that everyone flocks to, it's normally the same things. It's whatever gives you pinnacle activities. There's really no deep story narrative to tie everything together like it was in Destiny 1, so I believe Bungie is going to go back to that model. If you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Why, if the tower blew up and we lost all of our stuff, are any of the exotics or weapons able to be reacquired in Destiny 2? And again, it's just my thoughts on the matter, but I honestly don't believe that there will be a Destiny 3. I think that the community doesn't really want a Destiny 3. They just want a better, faster, updated version of Destiny 1 with more options, more guns, and more armor, and some vanity items to chase. Once you give them that, everybody will be happy. Well, not everybody, but you know what I mean. The majority of people will be happy with that because everybody wants what made Destiny 1 great. Now, with next-gen consoles coming out and Year 4 about to begin, Bungie will be taking the steps to make Destiny 2 more like Destiny 1. I mean, look at the Fellwinter's Lie quest that just came out. Why is Fellwinter's Lie being brought into Destiny 2 if not for the fact of nostalgia for people who like Destiny 1? So, with that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with that to kind of chew on that. Leave any thoughts or comments down below, and I will get up with you guys later. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace.